going to introduce you. I want to let people know a little bit about you. If they are not already in your world and haven't seen any of your work, then, oh my goodness, get ready, everyone, is what I want to say. Because Leslie is amazing and she's a wealth of knowledge. So if you don't know Leslie, let me introduce you to her world, because I know what she's going to share today is going to be really powerful for all parents, right? So she is an award-winning ADHD academic and parenting coach. She founded Order Out of Chaos when her son was first diagnosed with ADHD. And Order Out of Chaos, their mission is really to help parents to guide their kids, their students, in success in learning and in life. So she's the creator of the award-winning academic planner. Today, you said today is World Planning Day?
National, it's here in the States, it's National Planner Day. I know. It's National Planner Day. So we've been doing a lot of media and planning around planners. I own an academic planner company. But
the academic planner, the tool for time management, and that's a planner that helps students to develop time management skills. And you're also the award-winning author of 3 books, including the recently published How to Do It Now Because It's Not Going Away, an expert guide to getting stuff done. Is your house like are you super organized?
Yes, I'm not even gonna lie. Yes, I am. But the book is for students. It's not for, but I'm not as organized. I'm organized where I feel like I need to be, and I've let go where I don't. So
yeah, I think it's good to have a balance, because some of, if we're too organized and things have a place and we have to do it, like, that's too rigid.
Yes. But if you can see, my office is pretty organized.
I love the white and the gray and the cut. Like, I just think it's beautiful.
Thank you.
So as you guys, like, now that you guys know, we have an award-winning person in our circle at the moment. So please put down, in the comments, if you're watching live on the Facebook group, Let's Raise Emotionally Intelligent Kids, put down some comments, put down some hearts, or put down some love for Leslie, because she's taken time out of her. She's done a 12-hour day and probably will do more. So this is huge, and we're very grateful.
Listen, here's my feeling. I've been at this for a really long time, and I'm going to say this, and I know this is not what we came to talk about, and we'll definitely talk about it, but Order Out of Chaos is celebrating our 20th anniversary in September. That is how old I am, and that's how long I've been around. But what hasn't changed over those years is the need for community, and the need for connection, and the need for conversation. Mm-hmm. And I always think that we are very lucky to do what we love, and that people want to come and listen. So I feel like we always have to come, like, we're here for you. We're here to serve, and we're here to bring our A game. Like, so you never say, like, I'm here. I'm here for as long as you need me. So
wow,
I have nowhere else better to be in this moment than here with you.
That's
I really feel that way.
That really is amazing. I think that's such a wholehearted kind of place to come from, and I like people.
And I feel like over the years I've seen that, like, people just still want that community and connection. They want it. So we're lucky to be in the place to be able to do it and bring people together and give them that. So and as we say here, there's just enough toys in the sandbox for everybody. And I love that mentality. Do you know what I mean? Like, we share information, we share communities. And I think that's super, super important. So, so let's get into it.
If you weren't already one of my favorite people.
Let's go. Okay. What do you want to chat? So I thought I would talk about, when I did your telesummit, we talked about the overwhelmed child, almost like in that 36,000 level view. And what I thought would be interesting to do today, and I know you have a global community where some are just starting school, some are in the thick of it, because I know everybody starts at all different times on the calendar, that we would talk a little bit maybe about overwhelm as it pertains to school and studying and homework, and like what that feels like. That we would go a little more narrow and deep. Does that work?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Why do you find, or how have you found that this is something that is really needing to be talked about, and these kids are really needing support in this area? Is this something that you're like, kids are struggling?
Everyone. So So here in the States, and I'm dropping the comments like a thumbs up, like we're in the throes of back to school right now. And, it's so funny, even though some of us, even in the States, start in September, but right now, like we turn the page to August 1st and it is back to school like crazy. But what I have seen over the years in my work in particular is that the pain point for parents is that homework button, is that study button. And believe it or not, for me, the studying and the homework, actually, I have very different responses to students when they come to me, or they come to, like, we coach students at Order Out of Chaos. So how we look at homework and what we tell parents. So I'm gonna do with you what I do in our group. So let's chat about homework for a minute. And it is a beast. And as much as I don't, as much as we try not to, don't want it, it's there. And we have to work with it. But what I ask parents all the time, and it's kind of like a funny, like, aha question, is tell me what time homework starts for your child during the day. Like, what time does it start? And parents will say 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, after school, after dinner, after an activity, before an activity. And I'm not here to disparage anybody. Trust me, I am a parent. But basically, that's not the right answer at all. None of that is the right answer, particularly if you have a child who is overwhelmed, a child that has ADHD or is neurodiverse. Mm-hmm. Homework starts the minute your child steps into their first class of the day. Mm-hmm. So we have to not be looking at homework in this very vacuum, narrow window of, why is my child not sitting down and doing it? They should be sitting down, like, just go do it, right? Like, and have that type of argument. What we really need to do as parents is take a step back and realize, think about it. Your child sets foot in that class. Think about every single thing that has to line up correctly in their day to make homework happen. Now, I'm not saying that, like, there isn't that kid that everything did line up and they just are on their phone. Like, we know that, but we know that to be true. But for the majority of the kids that we serve, right? The majority of the kids that your parents have, something didn't quite go right during the day to make homework not happen for them, or make homework a struggle. So they have to have processed the information. They have to have remembered the information. They have to understood the information, right? They have to have brought home the right tools, let's say. There's a million things. I don't want to waste all our time on all of those things. But if we think about it, it's a very powerful way of saying, you know what? You're right. Homework doesn't live in a vacuum. There is no separation of school and home. We have to wrap it all the way back and figure out what is not happening for my student at school that is making homework. It could be the amount. It could be the volume. It could be that your student has, this is very much about an overwhelmed. It could be that your child has 20 math problems on a page. It could be simple computation and they know how to do it. But just the sheer volume is overwhelming. Mm-hmm. So is that why we're not? Is your environment at home? Are they sitting alone in a room in the quiet with the door closed, which is so old school? Are we moving them around the house? Movement helps us lay down learning. Movement helps distractibility. Movement is like a smoothie. It's just filled with all the good stuff, right? Like, we want our kids doing homework in the bathtub there's no water. We want them in the bathtub because it's small and sensory seeking and cold and fun, right? Isn't it fun? Like, I have grad students who wrote their entire thesis, I don't know if that's the right word, wrote there in the bathtub because it was different and novel and fun. Or we want kids doing homework under the kitchen table, in the pantry. It doesn't matter. We just want them moving because it helps. It helps that overwhelm and overload and drain. I don't want to make this like a lecture, but I feel like that is so important for us as parents to be going all the way back to the beginning and thinking, playing some I Spy, what is going on to get
Wow.
us to where? Have we lined it up? Have we figured out what might be getting in our kids' way?
Oh, I love that, because everything that you've been saying makes me think looking underneath the iceberg, which is something we talk about a lot in this group, and
That's
I
right.
post about it. It's not my,
I know exactly what it is. We all post it because it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
It is. It's a great visual. But so I love that. We call it an order out of chaos, not the iceberg thing, the homework cycle. And when parents go, a cycle, I'm like, of course it's a cycle. Think about that first class, 8 a.m. math class. Did your kid have enough protein that morning for that their brain is like locked and loaded and ready to receive? Like maybe they weren't ready. And therefore now 11 hours later, they're staring down math and they're going, I never learned this. I have no idea what I'm trying to keep it clean for you people. I'm such a New Yorker girl. I'm sorry. But it's true. It's all of those things have to line up.
Wow.
So I want to give your parents that kind of like picture of, oh, I never thought of it.
Yep.
And if I can give them one like thing that is a universal tip is, I want you to remember me saying, the more you move, the more you lay down learning. The more you retain information, the easier it is to activate, the easier it is to stay on course. It doesn't feel as heavy. Does that, or overwhelming? And a lot of my kids feel it's very game-like to move, right? I'm going to date myself. There was a TV show called Beat the Clock, but like, okay, I'm going to spend like 30 minutes at the dining room table and then I'm going to move to another location, right? It's that kind of movement that helps us keep our brains from fading.
And is it okay? Is it okay to have a break and do something completely, like, let's say we do maths and then before we move to another table or another area of the house to do English or writing, can we go outside on the trampoline, or is that just breaking it up? Is that distracting?
No. So there's two things that are research proven. So I always say there's things that are Leslie proven after 20 years in the field. And then there's things that are actually like researched, right? Okay. So two things. We should all never be sitting for more than a certain amount of time. We know that, right? Why is our kids any different, right? I'm sitting, I have my thing that says, Leslie, stand up, time to get right. And my watch tells me when I have to like move.
Yeah.
Your kids are the same. They should not be sitting. And again, I don't know how much, it depends on the age of your kid and all that. But two things. Yes, after 40 minutes of focused work, if they need to go outside and jump on a trampoline, run up and down the steps, do I want them sitting in front of a television? I would prefer not. But should they take a break? Yes, absolutely. They should take a break.
And how do they know, like, if 40 minutes is too long and my child is 15 minutes and they're like moving around, like, is it okay to do shorter chunks, or how do we know?
We used to call it the 15-5, like, because here's what you also have to do. What's the barrier to entry for your child? Is it time? Is it too much? Do they think, so there's a lot of things we're going to say, and I want to make sure that I'm sorry. This has been a long day. I'm writing down my thoughts so I don't forget them. Here's what I always say for a student too. Particularly my kids that are overwhelmed and who are seeing done is very powerful, because if you have it, and we're all guilty of it, but we're guilty of it in a very like nice way. We'll say to our children or our students, we call them students at Order Out of Chaos. I'm sorry, that's just how we speak. We'll say, why don't you just go get your math homework done before dinner? Right? That's so like benign and innocuous, and we don't think, right? What are we doing? But no, because a lot of our kids who have that overwhelmed gene, the amount of questions that go through their head can become very overwhelming. It's, well, how long does that take? How much do I have? When is dinner? It's that vagueness that kind of sets them off. If a student is amenable, we never make anybody do anything they don't want to do, but we always promote time over task.
Oh, yeah.
Time over task. And it's easy to remember that, right? Time over task.
Mm-hmm.
We always want you working. We want your students to go. We want to say to a student, again, depends on the time, it depends on the age. We want to say, why don't you work for 15 minutes versus why don't you do your spelling homework? Because when you do 15 and you have externalized time, meaning there's a timer or there's, I don't know if you can say, or there's an analog clock, your child sees the sweep of time. They see a beginning, middle, and an end.
Mm-hmm.
And when your child sees beginning, middle, and end, it helps them to activate, but it also helps them stay the course. They feel tethered. When they don't know how long something is going to be, there's this like feeling of being unmoored, right?
Is this what time blindness is?
Yes, this is what time blindness is.
I think I learned this from Lara.
That is what it is. So what we want to do is we want to tether them. I love all these T words. We say tether to time. How are we tethering you to time? So you need that, your child needs to see a beginning, middle, and end, because that's going to help them pace themselves. That's going to help them. Oh, I have 5 minutes. All right. I might wiggle in my chair. I might move a pen, but they can psychologically get themselves to the finish line if they see done.
Yeah.
But so that's number one. The other thing I want you all to take home with you is, this is research proven. This is for my older students.
Mm-hmm.
If your child has like math homework, history, science, we are all used to saying, finish your math first, then do science. What research will have you do is switch the subjects up by time. Hear me out. Now, I have 2 of my own kids that they are way flown and grown, but when they weren't, my son with ADHD did this every single night. My child who did not have ADHD was like, absolutely not, never happening. So again, whatever works for you and your fam. Mm-hmm. My son would set a timer and for 30 minutes. This was like when he was like 15, okay? And I have my student coaching clients do this too. He'll work on math for 30 minutes because here's the brain. I'm working on math. I'm kind of working on math. I'm really not working on math, but I'm telling everybody I am. I'm so not working on math, right? Done. Put a fork in the child. They are done. So what we do is we then switch up. So we finish out, maybe we're in the middle of a problem. We finish the problem, but we might not necessarily be finished with math. We move to another subject. So we might do math, then science, maybe go back to math, because here's the brain then. I'm fading. Oh, new subject. I'm fading. Oh, see what I mean? Instead of this crash and burn.
So what is I like that idea.
That makes sense. I want to make sure that made sense.
Yes, it does. And then I'm wondering how, I also saw a really great question from Tana. I'm going to ask that in a second. How does that fit in with sometimes the fact that some kids can have some difficulties with transitions and transitioning multiple times? Does that
doesn't
their brain?
It doesn't happen for some. I'm being honest with you, like, nothing is a one size fits all. Nothing. I've always come to the table. If anyone out there has ever heard me speak or knows Order Out of Chaos, I come to the table with, here's a litany of like strategies and tips, and throw them up against the wall and see what sticks. So for some kids, we know timers are anxiety producing. For other kids, they are like games, right? They're like, I love this, Leslie. It's like I'm playing a game. Awesome. So that works for you. But if you have a child that really, really, really struggles with transitions, then this might not work. Or it might work because if they're doing 30 minutes or 20 minutes, they take a break, they might be able to transition to another subject. Again, we got to figure it out, friends.
Yeah. And would it be okay? Would it be okay to collaboratively, I'm thinking of, what did you say before? Finding out what's getting in our child's way. That so resonates with this, the Ross Green collaborative solution stuff. What is it okay to bring your kids into depending on their age, bring the kids and say, here's what you've got to do for homework, where like let's work together with where you want to start, what you want to do next, like, or is it better for us adults to go, let's do this and then we'll move to that and then we'll move to that?
No, I think, okay, so here's my parenting philosophy. And believe it or not, this was my parenting philosophy, like for my own children, because I had a very complex kid. He's 25 now, so I'm very careful what I say. When he's 11, you can share a lot. When you're 25, he's like, can you not share stories anymore? And I seriously, and I think that's important too, like to know, like to get permission. But this I can share. He was complex, right? So I think two things. It depends on how old your child is. This is what I firmly believe. I believe it is our job as parents to set parameters. It's your child's job to negotiate them. And as your child is young, the parameters might be small. It might be, honey, what time do you want to start your homework? 4:07 or 4:17? So you should know this about me. We never start anything at Order Out of Chaos on the hour or half hour when it comes to students.
Why?
Because I have to keep it clean. Because it's boring. Think about like a 10-year-old at home. Think about it. Who doesn't really want to do work, and you're at home and you're going, do you want to start at 4 or 4:30? It's just like, it's white noise. It's boring. It doesn't but all of a sudden you go, want to start at 4:07 or 4:22? All of a sudden that dopamine changes. It's novel. It's funny. It's a little game like. Now I've got some buy-in.
Ooh, that's gold.
I think so. But it's so simple. It's not simple like in the theory. It's simple to do. It's very simple to do. But what you've done as the parent is you've set a parameter that you're okay with. We never want to ask, what time do you? Because what happens if they say never? Or that. I don't need to teach your community that. I know you handle that beautifully. But that is that's like study gold. That's homework gold, the 4:07s and the 4:22s. It's just something I did once with it's very funny. Like we all go to we learn how to coach and we go to classes and all that stuff. But so much of what I learned, gotta remember, I've been doing this for 20 years. There wasn't any of this back then. There wasn't an internet. There was no internet back in 2004. Were any of you born in 2004? Internet, there were no podcasts, there were no summits and groups, there was nothing. I had to make up all of this crap on my own. And I threw a lot up against the wall and I saw what stuck. This stuck. I hope people are laughing at me. One of my good friends, and she's an OT and she's incredible. I have to contribute half my career to her. Danielle said, I felt that dopamine change. I love it. My work here is done. I'm sorry, guys. It has been the longest day for me. I've been at it since 7 a.m. It is, and not that I'm not tired. I'm punchy, but I hope I'm getting my my points across.
Yes, so I've got a question that I'll ask you. I'm not sure of the age. Tana, if you're still watching, can you tell us the age for?
Yes, age is important, Tanya.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask the age. Maybe she's watching. Put that in. But so I'll go through the question, and then I do want to ask you about the personal homework profile. So because I know that's something really exciting. So and
then I have one other thing that I really want to talk about.
Okay, let's go.
I've worked show and tell.
She's organized. Oh, of course you're organized. What do you mean?
So do you have the question or you want to wait on the question?
Yeah, okay. Oh, and she said 5, 7, and 9. Thanks, Tana. Yeah. Okay, so the question is, I like time over task, but what if you have a child that might work for 15, but then just draws? Is it okay to say choose 5 spelling words or 10 math questions or 1 sentence?
I think so. Listen, your kids are very young. Those are super, super young kids. So you are really going to be shepherding them through. Do you know what I'm saying?
You know what
That's
I,
like
you know what I
remember
sometimes say? We've got to like
what?
herd our kids like sheep, especially in the evening time when they don't want to have a bath, they don't want to do this. Like I
Right.
replied to a comment the other day. I was like, you've got to be more hands-on because their brain like is running out of battery.
So where I live, we say put a fork in them, they're done. Right? Like,
What? What's that?
like meaning, like when you're testing like meat on the barbecue,
Oh,
put a fork in it. Oh, wait, it's done. Okay. So I do have it done. Sorry.
I love it.
No. So I have a game for your friend Tanya or whoever. So Tanya, what we like to say with our littles, we call them with our littles, and you're gonna laugh. I did this once in a webinar, and I was explaining this, and I had a parent come back and say, my 18-year-old wanted me to do this. But it got started when, again, a lot of these things came out of my own son, because I was really like second shifting. I would work and I'd come home and it would be like another whole, right? And my husband, who's amazing, would say, he's yours, because I did this for a living. So he kind of, we would divide and conquer. But what I would do with my son is I would play a game called Hide the Homework. And it's a really fun thing to do with your littles. Like, I don't know if your 15-year-old is really going to want you to like hide their homework somewhere, but they might. And so I don't want to ever say no. But what you do is you take homework. So maybe they have a math sheet, maybe they have some spelling words, and you put it all over your house or your apartment, wherever you live. And wherever they find it is where they have to do it.
Oh my God.
Really? Really? It's so freaking fun. Okay. So I had a parent once like take a video of her kid finding her math homework in the bathtub, finding English under the kitchen table. Like, but it is actually steeped in research, meaning I'm just not meaning movement and the brain thing. But I have found for my littles, like what she said about, is it okay to do one thing? They'll tend to stay in the space a little longer because it's the getting started. That's always the hardest. But it's fine if you want to break it out. So if they've got like 5 spelling words, you can do one and hide the ones all over. Like, you know what I mean? Like take 5 spelling words and break it up and put them as each just one. So you're removing what I call that barrier to entry.
Ooh.
You can do it. Again, there's a lot of ways to take these concepts and tips and make them your own, meaning, you know what I mean? Like make them so they fit your child. But Tanya has the perfect age kids for hide your homework.
Yeah.
So,
cool. That's gold. Okay. Show me your yellow sheet.
Okay. So for your parents out there who have older students, so here's something I really want to talk to you about, because we started with homework and I want to talk to you about studying, and they're very different. And when I say that, a lot of parents kind of look at me like, how is homework and studying different? They're very different. And I'm going to tell you why. So studying is very teacher directed. Homework is very teacher directed. Here's what you have to do. I want you to go to page 52 and I want you to do problems 1 through 5. Right? Not a lot of wiggle room. There's not a lot of make it your own. There's not a lot of choice and control. So I for those of my kids that are overwhelmed kids that are neurodivergent, who have a hard time, I feel you on the homework piece. I really do, because you have very little choice and control. But not when it comes to studying. So when I have a kid in front of me or a parent or whatever who says like, oh, can't study, hate studying, I don't want to study. And I'm like, okay, throw yourself for your pity party. I'm in for the pity party because I hate all of it. Studying is just the worst. But then eventually it's time to back the car up the driveway and get on with it. I'm sorry. But here's what we said. To actually study actually means to teach oneself something. That's what it means. To study is to learn something on your own. And when you learn something on your own, you have choice and control. Maybe you might have a teacher assign a study guide that the teacher requires. Okay. But after that, it's all your choice. And this is how I lead the conversation. And this is what I teach parents to lead the conversation with your student who might feel that overwhelmed to study, that, oh my God, I have to study. I literally pepper it with, hey, the choice is yours. You're in control here. What tools do you want to use? You're my singer and dancer. Let's write a song. Let's make up a song. I always use me as the example. I was in college. I was in a sorority. I had to learn the Greek alphabet. It's been 1,000 years and I still know it because I put it to music. So if you have a music kid, put it to music. If you have a techie kid, have them make a mock website. If you have an artistic kid, maybe they'll do a graphic novel, not a whole novel, but you know what I'm saying. But when I talk to students and I'm like, the buy-in here, you're in control. It's your choice. How do you want to learn the information? Again, not a perfect science, doesn't happen overnight, but what I do start to see, I see like a calming effect. Oh, you're right. I don't have to do flashcards, Leslie. I hate flashcards. I don't do flashcards. I don't give a you know what. What is going to work for you? So there is that subtle difference between studying then, and trust me, we could talk all hours, but we can't. But I want to show you one other thing that I do. For my kids that are overwhelmed by what it truly means to study, what I call it is something what I call the 4 core. To truly study and bring all the modalities in, you need to be able, you have to see it, say it, do it, and hear it. That's my little happy face. Because, it's happy. See it, say it, do it, and hear it. And what I ask my students to do is pick one of each. So now I've taken this amorphous, vague, too much, too hard, too everything concept to study, and I've brought it into something manageable, and I've given them a roadmap to follow. Give me a see it, give me a say it, give me a do it, and give me a hear it. And all of a sudden it becomes not so overwhelming. Hey, Leslie, I really love to listen to podcasts or YouTube videos one. Great, that's your hear it. I have a study group next week or tomorrow. Perfect, guess what? That's your say it. All of a sudden it's not as like vague or it's not as overwhelming because we've put the pieces in place. I did about that. Does that make sense? Because I obviously I tend to spend more time on that concept, but did I hit my points?
Absolutely.
Get it? Okay.
Yeah.
So that's something, again, I wanted to bring your community because I think it's a really, really great way to teach your kids and drill down studying so it becomes manageable and not this amorphous, like,
yeah.
What do I do? How do I get started? What do I use? Right. All of those questions that really make your kid unstuck. Makes them stuck. Exactly. Yeah. Oh, great face.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Like so hard. So does this fit in with a personal homework profile? I want to hear about that.
So we have a personal homework profile. So what we have found that each kid shows up with their own preferences and personalities when it comes to doing homework, studying, and projects. Some kids like long lead times or short. Some kids like, music or quiet. So we developed a 16-question questionnaire that you can go over with your child that kind of taps into their best practices. And what's interesting is their best practices aren't always the same. For homework, it might be one way. For studying, maybe your kid might say, I really like to spread out on the floor when I study, but I like to do my homework in the comfy chair in the den. So it really taps into their personality, their preferences, their best practices. And what I love about it is, particularly if I have a kid that's stuck like all this, mid-semester, starting to procrastinate, can't get himself out of that, that cycle, the homework profile tends to help them remember almost like the tools that they have within themselves to get unstuck.
Wow, that sounds so powerful.
Yeah, so that's our personal homework profile. It is pretty great. I love it. And what we're seeing now too is teachers are using it in schools because it really helps so a student to learn about how they learn and how they work best. And I worked a certain way growing up and there was no way. And my son, so as parents, we're like, why don't you try it this way? because this is what worked for me. So this is also a way to have you step back and let your kid really figure out their way home.
Yeah, wow. So where can parents find more information about your work, Order Out of Chaos, the personal homework profile, everything?
So I always tell people, come to our site. It's orderoochaos.com. From there, you can find everything. I write the Dear ADHD Family Coach column for Attitude Magazine. All my columns are there, videos, all our products, all the downloads, all the book, everything. Just go to that site and you'll find everything.
Yeah. Okay. Order OO Chaos. We're going to put all the links and everything for you, because I know that I'm scrolling down on I know you've got Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and things like that. I just also suggest following Leslie and her work on those platforms and jumping on the website when you have a chance to look at some of these awesome articles and the blogs. Like she said, she writes for Attitude Magazine, so the big ADHD magazine and things like that, and lots of your products and everything on there. So, and do you ship worldwide? Because some people in Australia might want.
We ship worldwide. And a little fun fact, after the United States and Canada, Australia is our number 3 big. I know. We love our Australian friends. It's not funny. We have no idea why, but it's the United States, Canada, and then Australia.
Wow. I have had a couple of families just recently say that having particularly ADHD kids is really hard for them to find support and specific therapists and things like that. I know they're around, but the families have said to me, and I'm like, you need to know people like Leslie and Lara Dawn, and like, comment, guys, please comment if you have an ADHD child, or if you have an overwhelmed a TOO child,
right?
Because we're going to hook you up with Leslie and her website and the products.
And we're here for you. Listen, we're not here to post. We're like, if you even have questions, like we answer questions, like listen, I've been at this for a long time. Like we're just very generous in what we give. So just, if you have anything specific that you cannot, as I say, there's enough toys in the sandbox for all of us. Just drop us a question and we'll help you out.
Awesome. And I know that, so we've been talking about obviously kids and teens and supporting them, but do you have, are the products and things helpful for parents with ADHD?
So we have on our site what we call our parent education library. Actually, most of what we have is for parents. So if you went on, you would find there are more resources for parents on everything from executive functioning, ADHD, problem solving, time management, procrastination, all of that. We do have study skill videos that are tailored for the student, but I would say about 80% of what you would find on our site, downloads and are all for parents to help them help their students. Okay. So that's because that's who comes to the site. That's our Facebook group, but we do coach kids. Yep. We coach high school and college students. That is something that we do.
Awesome. I'm so grateful for you coming on. It's your evening and we've gone over time, so I'm really grateful. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I think you're fabulous. I think what you have grown is incredible. I love watching this just amazing resource of people that have just, it's a very special group.
Thank you. Yeah, it is growing. And it's like, I'm looking down here at everyone's comments and it thank you so much to both of you. So enlightening. Thank you, Leslie. It was an absolute joy to hear you speak. Amanda has a 6-year-old ADHD boy, and this is great information. Homework is definitely a struggle in our home.
I want to go to our site. I will tell you that we don't have any. So here's what I want to say. We have no firewalls. We have no, how we run our business. We have no memberships. Everything is a la carte. So there's free, there's small amounts, there's large amounts, meaning you want a video for X amount of money. You don't want it. You want to join our bread and butter. What we do every month is we offer monthly webinars. That's our, how we do it. We don't do courses and we don't do memberships. We do webinars, and every month there's a different one. So this month is actually free, and it happens to be on study skills. It's our back to school webinar. So everyone's invited, and you can find all the information on our website. So Then we'll have one in the fall on the self-driven child. We're doing one on anxiety. We bring in doctors, guest experts. We do executive functioning. So webinars are like,
yeah,
that's our thing. That's our thing, is webinars.
Oh, awesome.
You can choose if you want to come or not. It's what everything's that way. So yes, so please, if you want, come over and grab any information that'll be helpful.
Oh, wow. Okay. So guys, if you are just jumping on, this is the very end. We're kind of wrapping up. As I said, we're going at the start where this interview is going to be over on my YouTube channel by the end of today, I'm going to say. And if you are watching this already on YouTube, then please go and find some of the other interviews we've done. Just recently, I interviewed Julie King, who's the co-author of How to Talk So Kids Will Listen. I've had Suzanne Tucker, who's the founder of Generation Mindful, Gen M. The amazing Alfie Cohn as well, and Mona Delahook, one of my huge, I'm such fans. I'm so grateful to have these people. All of these interviews, we do them live and stream them live into Facebook, and then they go up on YouTube. So search around on my channel, guys. You can rewatch this one from Leslie. You can take notes and go to her website. I'll put all the links.
I know I spoke really fast. I'm sorry.
Me too. It's okay. It's because we're so excited.
Okay. All right.
All right. Thank you so much. I'll let you go. And
good night, everybody. Good night. I'm saying good night. Good night.